Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be speaking about the 1990 Lincoln Memorial penny. Now, most people think these are only worth 1 cent, and they're probably right, but there are a select few that have appeal to collectors, whether it's their really good condition, an error, or it could be a variety, which is really my favorite. It's like a more when you zoom in, try to treasure hunt it there and see like a little bit of something that went wrong in the process that's used to make the dies that then strike the coins. There's a lot that you could look for, and we'll be having clear photos, a clear explanation hopefully, and some good values, approximate values, and their estimates in the presentation. So here we've got the 1990 Lincoln Memorial cent, and there's a little bit more to the picture than you might think. You can pause here. These are zinc coins, so there's not much even copper value, but there's some other varieties that you should be looking for. In terms of the conditional rarity, I like to just focus on the 1990 mostly. It's going to be able to, you could do well if you can grade something at PCGS in a mint state 68 or 69 red, but it's really challenging to do so, and it's not going to be worth it to send it to PCGS if it comes back mint state 67, so I think you're better off, unless you really know what you're doing, holding off from sending there, unless, again, it's like a perfectly flawless coin, and then there can be some upside. I mean, $6,000 for mint state 69. The registry players are collecting this stuff, but the thing that I'd urge you to look for more, this is one of the most minor varieties, but there are a good amount that are interesting to search for. So here it's like a little bit of notching on the R, and then possibly some extra thickness sort of in the loops of the 9, but really that R is going to be the marker. These are ungraded values, $2 to $10 for something that otherwise is literally worth 1 cent and nothing more. That's not bad, and it's a fun treasure hunt. I think a better variety to look for is going to be this one of the best that's not in the Cherry Picker's Guide, nor is it certifiable through Varieties Plus at NGC, but it's a double die, really strong separation in the L, the I, nice distortion in the B, E, you can see the split again up top. Same thing in the date, you can see the notch in the bottom of the 1, and then both of these parts of the 9. I mean, this is like $120 for mint state 65 red, and people aren't searching for it too much, so it's something that you can keep your eyes peeled for. There's a lot more minor ones on the reverse. These are interesting. I mean, it reminds me of like some of the other 1990s. There's one of them that's able to be certified. I'm blanking. I want to say it's 1996, where there's the doubled sort of bays or the doubled columns in the Lincoln Memorial. Here you can see the doubling, though, clearly showing through on the second and third rightmost bays. There's also going to be one where, again, it sort of shows through clearly, but the rightmost and then the 3 rightmost ones, again, having that there. Then there's also one that's a little bit less obvious where the doubling is like the steps as opposed to the columns. A little bit more minor, but something different. Maybe some collectors are more interested in that type of thing. And then you have a fourth that just continues the pattern. Somehow it's slightly different from the number 1 and number 2, but reminds me of number 1, where there's just on those right side, you're going to want to look closely, make sure that there's not these extra bays. In terms of some of the errors, this one is double struck. You can see the first impression of the 1990 and then 1990 over it. Plus there's a 50% indentation, so it looks like there's probably another planchet that was on top of it. You can really see the zinc core showing through in this one, $120. One after that is going to be a double denomination, where the dime from 1990p, you can see right down there, then gets not into a roll or a bag and shipped out, but instead into the presses that are striking pennies. And the dime, it's a relatively hard planchet. A lot of the details show through, though the force does leave the impression of the penny, but this one sold for $2,200 recently. And then there's also a fold over strike, which is one of the more special types of errors, where it's probably the planchet is upright in the chamber as it gets struck, and then it folds over the metal in a pretty rare situation to get something. I really like how you can see how the part of the blank sort of is like cutting into the other part, and then you see those nice folds. This sold for $745 a while ago. So that brings us to the end of today, but some neat errors, more interesting stuff though, especially with this double die obverse in terms of the variety potential. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled, see if there's anything cool, and it would always be great to hear of a good find. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like the video, comment, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And I also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and some other social media platforms. You can also go to my main channel website, treasuretownYT.com, to learn more about the channel and sort of stay in contact. I also will eventually host all of these videos on coinsmetalscards.com, which will be both news, marketplace, and coin information. I do have the goal of eventually getting pretty much every US coin, date, mint mark, denomination on the channel with a similar video to the one that you just watched, and that will likely all be hosted there. And then I also have treasuretowncoins.com, which is sort of my coin dealing wing, coin dealing only entity that is a little bit less focused on content production. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos. I also have videos that are not just the date, mint mark, denomination recap in this format, so you can check some of those out, and I'll have fun seeing you there.